Hello world, my name is Tim Ruswick, and today I want to talk about 7 reminders that will keep you happy and mentally healthy. 7 things that I want to remind people that are real, that can keep them in a good, positive headspace. Because, you know, there's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of bad things that happen in the world. There's a lot of emotionally sensitive people and situations. Emotions are complex. Not everybody understands everything that they're feeling, they're going through, and some people don't even understand what stress or emotional trauma is. And I thought it would be a good idea to remind people about some of the things that I kind of remind myself to generally stay happier and have a better outlook on life, because I think mental health is very important. And if you follow this channel for a while, you know that I'm a big advocate of it, and I just want to make sure people are doing okay in their heads, and I want to help give tools to you to help you stay there, right? Be there and stay there. So number 1, I just want to remind you, you don't need social media. You don't need it. Facebook stressing you out, people saying some dumb shit, people triggering you, saying things that just bring back bad memories or bring up past trauma, or people that are antagonistic, or any type of cyberbullying or anything like that. You don't need it. You don't have to have a Facebook profile or an Instagram profile or a Twitter or a Snapchat or whatever the kids have these days. You don't have to do that. You can quit. You can uninstall it. You don't need it. You don't have to use it. One of the best things I ever did was quit Facebook. It was literally one of the most positive changes in my life. It's been probably at least a year or 2 now. And I'm happier. I'm generally happier not having the app on my phone, not having to check it every morning, not feeling compelled to check it, not seeing what essentially is just a feedback loop of the things that I click on. And those things aren't always positive. So you click on negative stuff. Facebook thinks you like negative stuff, so they feed you more negative stuff. And if you think that doesn't happen on other platforms, like especially Instagram, people seem to think that Instagram is way different than Facebook. It's not. It's the same company, same algorithm, same stuff. So if it's making you feel stressed, you don't need it. You don't have to have it. Just want to remind you of that. Number 2, no is a complete sentence. I just want to remind you that 1, you can say no to anything and everything all the time. You never have to say yes. You are never compelled to say yes. And when you do say no, you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to say no. No. You don't have to follow it up with a reason. You don't have to follow up with an explanation. You don't have to give anybody a reason. If they ask why, say, because I said no. I used to hate when my parents would say that. I'd be like, Mom, can I go here? No. Why not? Because I said so. Yeah, but that's not a reason, Mom. I realized many, many years later, Mom never needed a reason. She just, no. That's okay. And it's especially okay when it's about you. It's about stuff that you're committing to, when it's about situations that you feel comfortable in. It's when it's about anything that affects you in any way. You don't even need a logical reason for it. If you get an emotional vibe, like you know, I don't know how to say it, auras or vibes about people, they don't feel right. Just no. You can go with your gut. You don't need to explain it. If somebody asks you to do work, somebody wants to contract you, and this is a big thing too. Learning no was one thing, but learning to say no to actual people that are willing to pay me was a whole different thing, right? When people started, like when I would get clients and they would be big budget clients for like marketing and stuff, I didn't realize I could say no. Like, hey, I don't like that guy's product. I don't like that. I don't like what they're doing in their business. I don't have to take on that client. That's a big thing too. Learning to say no and just hold your ground and have those boundaries to where people can't push past them. Because 1, everybody should respect when you say no, like no matter what, for anything, but not everybody does. So unfortunately, in our modern world, You also have to be able to hold on to the no. You have to have the boundaries to not be talked into things, because people will, not everybody, there's plenty of great people on earth, but some people just don't really see no as a stopping point. And they will press you. And I know, especially for me, like being an introvert and being someone that was maybe susceptible a little bit more to social pressure, not that I could get talked into things. Like, it never really worked, like in high school with like peer pressure and like all that kind of stuff, just because, you know, drugs and alcohol and stuff like that was stuff that I always stayed away from. But like business wise, because I felt like I didn't know what I was doing, I always kind of felt like an imposter. Saying no to clients when they would be pushing, like, come on, you want to do this, or you want to go this route with your business, or partners, like, yeah, we really should go this. And they were like extremely confident and I wasn't very confident. So I would read into those things and be like, oh, well, they're confident, so they must know something I don't. And then they could talk me into other things. And it turns out, no, like I should have stuck to my guns and done that thing. So you can say no. Nothing wrong with saying no in every capacity, in every way. You are allowed to say no, and you don't have to explain yourself. Number 3 that I want to remind you is downtime is productive. I got a whole video on this. I probably have multiple videos on this, to be honest. I haven't kept track of all the videos that I've done, but downtime, time away from your project, time away from the things that you spend the majority of time on is good. And I know this happens for people that work on games. It happens in all industries, but specifically in our industry in game dev, you get people that want to work on their project in their off time, but then you got people that are like full-time entrepreneurs and doing freelance work and stuff like that. And I know the feeling of guilt for not working can creep in a lot. So if you are like, for example, for me, when I was doing freelance work, and that's how I paid the bills, and that was my whole company. When I wasn't doing freelance work, or I wasn't looking for leads to get new sales, or I wasn't looking for new clients or whatever, I would feel guilty for not working. Like at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday, I'd be like, oh, I shouldn't be playing this video game. I should be working. Like I should be working. And that's the problem, is like when you work for yourself, there's no like boundaries of like 9 to 5 and you're off weekends and that kind of thing, where like the structure of that can be really good for some people because they can leave work at work. But when you work for yourself, like you don't have that. So a lot of times you can end up feeling like you should be working all the time. But one of the things that I've realized, especially with business, is like, if I don't take time off, I'm actually less productive. I get less stuff done. I'm less happy. I'm more stressed, and that leads to all kinds of complications. And that stuff is not really trackable. Like you can't, like, if you're tracking your hours in a spreadsheet or something, you can't necessarily track a productivity as a number. You can track how many things you get done, but different things take this amount of time, and it's just, you can't really track that. So on paper, it may seem like, yeah, well, I've been working 16 hours a day, and that, you know, that's more time equals more work done, but that's not how it works, because there's a diminishing returns, right? So like you work 8 hours, let's say you get 100 units of work done, but if you double 8 hours of work, that doesn't mean you're going to double the units of work done. That doesn't mean you're going to get 200 units of work done, right? You may get 120. And I've noticed that with myself too. Just, again, it's not scientific. I don't have any data on it, but I've observed myself do it. And it's like, when I take time off, like when I take the weekends off, when I take the evenings off, when I spend time with loved ones, when I go out and I do things, like I have a friend that's really into outdoor stuff. When I do a bunch of crazy stuff with him and stuff that I never thought I would like going looking for alligators, or like just exploring the woods or something. When we do go crazy stuff like that, like it removes my mind from the project, and it gives me clarity when I come back to it. And clarity is so valuable. Okay, there's 1,000 reasons I can go into why downtime is productive, but I just want to remind you that as long as you have some structure in your life, and you're not going to end up down that path of just like ignoring your entire life and playing video games, right? Everything in moderation is good, and downtime especially. If you're one of those people that doesn't like to take time off, you should consider trying it because it's very valuable. Number 4, you don't have to risk everything. It is a common trope in Hollywood where they tell a story about a dude who has a dream. And the dude has a dream, and the dude goes homeless for the dream and tries everything, and then it's crazy and everything goes against him, but he succeeds against all odds and he becomes a billionaire, or he makes the thing, or he does the dream, or whatever. And people idealize that. They make that like it's some kind of noble cause. They turn that into an idea of, at least culturally in the US, it's people think that's a good thing. And what I want to remind you is that, like, you don't necessarily have to go through the homeless phase to get to the success phase, right? And the more, I think the older you get and the more responsibilities you take on, the harder it is to risk things. So, like, for example, I don't have any kids. I'm not married. People that are married and have kids, they can't take on the same risk that someone in their 20s that's in college that has a dorm, can take on. And I think a lot of people think that if they want to make a game or they want to do something great in life, not just games, you want to write a book, you want to make an album, whatever it is, you want to create the thing, people think that they have to risk it all. They have to mortgage their house and quit their job and go full time and like live their dream and then just launch it, and then their story should hopefully follow a movie trajectory. And the thing about those stories is you only hear about the ones that are successful, because if Hollywood made a movie about some dude that risked everything, went homeless, kept trying over and over, and then died from old age and stress, everybody would review that movie like shit, man. Nobody wants to see that movie. Everybody would be like, what the fuck is this? There's no closure. There's no like cool story to tell. There's no like success story there. And the sad reality is, not to stress you out, because I know it's supposed to help with mental health. Sad reality is, the more you risk, the more you risk. You don't have to risk 18 million things for success. You can do it on the side. You can do it when you get home in the evening. You can do things smaller. You can reduce the risks and still succeed. And one of the reasons why this isn't a mental health video is because the more risk you throw into something, you are increasing your stress. You're taking on more stress. And stress, especially extended stress for extended periods of time, is very bad for you. The anxiety, the feeling, the just like the uneasiness, the lack of sleep, the lack of clarity, the unproductivity, there's all kinds of side effects of actual stress. And those are just the mental ones. Like, they're actual literal health side effects. You can have a compromised immune system. You can break out, and all like different people react in different ways to stress. So thinking that you have to risk everything and take on all that stress is just wrong. You don't. You can reduce the stress, and you can reduce the risk. You don't have to go full on into something. It doesn't make you any less of a game dev or any less of a writer or any less of a musician if you're doing it on the side. It just means that you understand the trade-off between following your dream and the amount of risk that you can take on, right? And some people activate better when they throw it all on the table, right? Some people don't. For example, there are plenty of times when I lived in LA where I had to get a client because I couldn't afford the rent that month. Like, I was dead broke. I had to pay the rent and I didn't have any money. Those kind of situations activate me. They turn me into like a superhuman. Like, I go door to door in businesses. I give out my business card. I talk people. I'll call 20 people a day. I will make shit happen. Like, I will go out of my way to make that happen. And I've never once missed that because of like how the pressure activates me. There are some people where, given that same situation, they will shut down. They will just shut down completely. And that's their own thing that they got to work on. But if that is you have to understand that. And if you shut down under pressure, the last thing you should be doing is putting yourself under a bunch of pressure, right? You obviously want to work on that and improve your capacity over time and you know, improve as a human being. But you just have to observe yourself and understand that, hey, I don't work well under pressure. So if I want to work well, I shouldn't put all this pressure on me, right? And be smart enough to not use it as a cop-out. Just be like, I don't work well under pressure, so I'm not even going to bother going there. Don't do that, okay? But you don't have to risk everything, right? All right, number 6. That is number 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, this is number 5. We're talking about number 5. You matter. You matter. That's it. You matter. Being selfish is okay. A lot of people don't realize, and again, so many of these things can be taken the wrong way, out of context, and flipped and distorted for the dark side. But I can only say things from my perspective, and I know I've spent a lot of my life trying to help and manage other people, trying to improve other people, and it has come at a cost of a lot of my sanity, a lot of my mental health. And so I have to remind myself that I matter, and it's okay to be selfish. It is okay, just like we were talking about saying no. That's okay. You can say no anytime, all the time. There's no obligation to do anything whatsoever at any point. It's okay for you to be selfish and put yourself above others. That is okay, especially when it comes to your mental health, right? And this ties right into no. If someone asks you to do a project and like they've done you a bunch of favors and like you feel like you owe them and they really, really want your help and you feel obligated to do it, but you feel like it's going to overwhelm you or you feel like it's going to shut you down, it is okay, given that context, to say no, to be selfish, to not return favors, to not feel obligated, and to take care of yourself, okay? Because, I personally, my philosophy is like one of like radical honesty, right? And if I'm honest with that person, I just say, I believe it's going to negatively affect my mental health and it's just not something I can handle right now. Don't lie about it. Don't be like, my mom is sick and my grandma died and my dog ate my keyboard, and you know, don't do all that. Like, that's fucking point. I just don't understand pointless lies, right? If you're upfront and you're honest, one of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to understand or they're not. And if they don't understand, you need to question yourself, why? Why are they in your life, right? And if they do understand, great. You just solved a problem. You were honest with somebody. You told them no. You improved your mental health because you didn't take on something you couldn't handle. And life is better. And it is okay to put yourself ahead of other people when you're talking about the things that you're doing. And like, obviously, you never want to cause harm to other people. And I need to clarify that, because without empathy to understand other humans and all that stuff, if you are just purely selfish all the time and you give no regard to what other people are thinking and feeling, that's not good either. Everything in moderation. So selfishness in moderation, just like everything else, right? It's, you know, if you're a drug addict and you do drugs 10,000 million times a day, it can kill you, right? So that everything is like that, not just drugs. Drugs are the extreme example, but like, you know, every kind of substance abuse, alcohol, even food, even sugar, right? Soda, everything in large amounts can be bad for you, and selfishness is the same thing. But I think it's important to understand that you matter as a person. And if you have low self-worth or low self-esteem, it can be hard to learn that, because that's what you have to do. You have to learn it as a skill. You have to matter as a skill. You have to practice, right? That's how you gain a skill. You practice. You practice making yourself matter. You practice putting yourself first. And this ties into a lot of the other points. Like, if you can put yourself first and understand, okay, my mental health would degrade if I took out a second mortgage and went full-time indie. you matter, and you don't want to do that because it's going to compromise your mental health, right? And you definitely don't want to, like, let's say you got, I don't know, 3 friends and they want to go full-time indie and they want you to go do it, but you just don't think you can handle it. It is okay to say no. And you are not crushing their dreams by saying no. You are not negatively impacting other people. And even if you are, even if, like, obviously you never want to cause harm, but like, you are in control of your destiny. You are rowing your own boat, right? It is okay for you to say no. It is okay for you to be selfish a little bit. Number 6, people that abuse you don't deserve to be in your life. That's a reminder. This can get complicated because a lot of people have family. A lot of people have friends they've had for a very long time. A lot of people have work relationships and people that are in their life. And I just want to remind you that no one deserves to be in your life by default. Okay? And this ties back into selfishness and all that. But people that abuse you, and I need to define abuse because I have to be very clear about this. When I say abuse, a lot of people think physical abuse. They think if this person hits me, but that's not the total of abuse. There's all kinds of abuse. Verbal abuse is a thing. Emotional abuse is a thing. Financial abuse, believe it or not, is a thing. Somebody can abuse you with their finances. How the hell does that happen? Well, what if someone says, "Hey, you can live with me for free," and then you move in, and they start asking you to do all kinds of things they didn't bring up before. They start demanding things. They start threatening to kick you out every time you do something they don't like. Like behavior like that, just shitty human behavior. Anybody on this planet Earth, literally anybody, it doesn't matter if they're family, your mom, your dad, your sister, not your dog. Your dog probably got trained that way. Okay, so treat your dog with love and respect. But anybody that does not treat you right does not deserve a place in your life. And that is okay. It is okay to cut people out of your life. It is okay to go no contact with people that are part of your family or part of your friends or whatever. It's okay to block their phone number and block them on Facebook or Instagram and just remove them from your life. And this doubly applies to people you've never met on the internet. Okay? Click that block button. You don't need that shit. If you're in a compromised mental state, you don't need that shit. Trolls, fucking block them. Who the fuck cares? You don't got to worry about it. Just lay the ban hammer on them bitches. Okay? Just get them out of your life. People, now I generally give everybody the benefit of the doubt in my circle, especially my online circle, which happens to be a lot bigger than my in-person circle. Everybody gets the benefit of doubt by default. You fuck up, you get a warning, and I'm very clear. And this, probably the best example of this is like my Twitch streams, right? Somebody comes in, they say some dumb shit. They get one warning. One warning that, hey, that's inappropriate, it's against our rules. Chill out a little bit there, buddy. They do it again, ban. Permaban. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. They're gone. I don't need them in my life. Somebody that's not going to listen to me when I say no, somebody that's not going to respect me as a human, someone that's going to take advantage of me. And this used to happen all the time to me just because I was so bad with boundaries and I was so afraid of conflict that people could walk over me by threatening conflict. Right? If I thought there was going to be a fight or an argument or something, I would always back down. And it's sad that the people that use conflict to control people seem to pair up really, really well with the people that are controlled by conflict. So you can end up in these situations where you have people that do not have your best interests in mind that are in your life. And that can add more stress and anxiety than literally everything else that we've talked about. Having someone in your life that tells you that they love you, tells you that they care about you, or that culturally you feel like they have to be in your life. having that person in your life and then having them repeatedly abuse you, having them take shots at your self-esteem, having them make fun of your positive life choices, having them give you things and then hold it over your head, having them just basically create scenarios and systems that make you second guess your reality, right? Like that's a whole huge thing. Gaslighting is a thing. If you don't know what gaslighting is, you need to look it up. That's a real thing, and a lot of people do that. They can literally make you feel like you're crazy by just like not remembering any bad shit they do, and be like, and you know, it can get very complicated. And like I said at the beginning, emotions are very complex, and not everybody has your best interest in mind. And you know what? If they don't have your best interest in mind, you shouldn't waste your energy on them. All right. I have very few people in my real world life. But the three most important people to me, my mom, my girlfriend, my brother, right? Those people are like, I fucking know without a shadow of a doubt, those people have my back. They have my best interest in mind. They will never do something knowingly that will put me in danger or hurt me in any way. I have other people that I've cut out of my life that I can't say the same thing for, right? And if you wonder, like, does this person have my best, like, is that a thing? Chances are they probably don't got it. Now, there are other issues with that. You know, you have to make sure that you don't have self-worth or self-esteem issues, because like it's easy to fall down that path of like just thinking that you're not a valuable human and that no one really cares about you. And that's a whole nother discussion, because, you know, that goes hand in hand with depression and all that stuff, which probably will make another video. But I just want to remind you that the people that abuse you do not deserve to be in your life, right? And finally, number 7, this is going to seem crazy. You're going to be like, wait, what? What did he just say? Probably going to get demonetized for talking about it, but just want to remind you that we are on a rock floating through space. We are meat skeletons on a rock floating through space, and we're all going to die. We're all going to die. You're going to die. Okay. I'm going to die. Everybody that I ever love is going to die. And why is that important? It's important because the context matters. Okay. If you have panic attacks, if you have anxiety attacks, if you have things that stress you out, if you see something on the internet and it just triggers you, if somebody does something to you that you think is so horrible you can never get past it, if you go through any kind of trauma, right? First of all, I want to tell you that all those emotions are perfectly valid, and that you should never let anyone tell you that you're overreacting or that that's not an appropriate reaction or anything like that, because your emotions are valid as a human. But second of all, I want to remind you that you're going to die because if you think of things like bullying, right? I was bullied in middle school. I've always been overweight, and I had man boobs, and I spilled a little bit of milk one day on my jacket, and happened to land where my man boobs were. And as you can imagine, the kids had a field day with that one, and I felt like my life was over there. I felt, after what I felt like was the entire school ganging up on me, making fun of me, and going all there, I felt like I could never go to school again. My entire world hates me. Nobody values me as a human. All of these people hate me. But you know what? When I think about my life, when I think about the impact that I can have, and I think about the fact that I'm going to cease to exist one day, when I think about that, like, one day I'm just not going to be here anymore. That seems so insignificant, right? So some people said some shit on a playground, like it doesn't even fucking matter, right? I've done things too, like more recently, because that was a long time ago, like posted videos that I didn't really think about posting, and then, like, you know, they get posted in threads and people shit on them and just talk, and I would read through these messages and it would just make me feel so shitty. Like, there's people out there that don't know me that hate me. and they like to like just talk shit, and it would just make me feel so down. And then I just like, I think about the fact that I'm gonna die one day, and literally I'm reading text on a fucking screen from some dudes that have never met me, that don't know anything about me. Why does that affect me? Like, I'm gonna cease to exist, right? I want to make an impact on the world. I want to help people. Why do these little tiny fucking things matter? Like, when you think that we are literal, like, fucking meat and blood skeletons on a rock flying through space around a giant fireball, that shit does not matter. that thing that seems like the end of the world does not matter. Now, I'm not saying that you don't want to take care of yourself and you don't want to address your trauma and you don't want to, like, you know, make sure that you can process things and make sure that you are taking care of yourself. But when you put it next to like the grand scale of the universe, right? We are on one planet, surrounded by one star out of billions, in one galaxy out of billions, probably in one universe out of billions. I don't know. Scientists disagree on that one. It just doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter as much. And that's a coping technique that I use a lot to see if I can kind of, like, you know, put things in a perspective. So this has been a long video. I've been doing these a lot. If you made it this far, I need your help. Okay, if you made it this far, I need you to comment and tell me that you like the longer form uncut videos of mine. If you do, if I bored the shit out of you, don't bother posting that. But, you know, if you do like this stuff, let me know. Otherwise, in the future, I may focus on shorter, more, you know, smaller cut stuff, because I know this is a lot to handle, a lot to watch for some people. But I love you all, and I want to thank you for being a part of the Game Dev Underground community. Thank you for being a part of my community. And I want to remind you that you matter. You matter. And you're important, and that you should treat yourself like you are. There's a lot of negative stuff in the world today, a lot of crazy shit happening, and we need to take care of ourselves and others. We need to be kind to ourselves and others. That's it for this video. My name is Tim Roswick, and I will see you in the next one. Hey, if you want more content like this, I highly recommend you check out the stuff on the rest of the channel. We have all kinds of stuff on game dev, motivation, self-improvement, all kinds of stuff. But if you make games or you want to make games, I highly recommend you join our Discord channel. We have game developers from all over the world, and you can, you know, do your game dev a little less lonely, or you can learn some new skills and meet some new people. So I'll see you there.